I'm going to be doing another example where I'm creating an object in Java. This time what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a smartphone object, and I'm going to have a few different things. I'm actually going to include an array list inside of my object. So let's show you how this works. So let's create a new project. I'm going to call this thing smartphone smartphone example, but I'm going to rename the main class to smartphone driver. All right, so usually what I do when I'm creating a program that has objects in it, or separate classes, whatever you want to call it, I usually build that thing first, and then I build the main to sort of correspond with that. So that's the first thing I do. I'm going to right click in here and create a new Java class. This thing is just going to be called smartphone. And what I'm going to put inside my smartphone is a couple of different things here. So first thing I'm going to put is a integer called num apps. I'm also going to create an array list. So array list, put a triangular bracket, string, close that, and call it app list. So again, with an array list, it's a good idea to put a triangular bracket to tell Java what type of variable is going inside of your array list. Now I've got to fix the imports on this. So right click, fix the import. It doesn't like that. So that just added in line 4 right there. And I'm going to also put in a string type of phone, like that. And let's get started now. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create the default constructor. So the default constructor is going to be public smartphone bracket bracket. So I know nothing about my phone. So what I'm going to put in here is I'm going to put in my app list. It's going to equal to a new array list, triangular bracket string, bracket bracket. So that's basically just creating an like when I write this, okay, what it's doing is it's declaring an array list called app list, but it doesn't really exist. It's set right now to null. I can't add anything into it or anything like that. I have to make an instance of it. So that's what this is doing right here. So it's actually creating an instance of it. It's still empty. It has nothing in it, but at least it exists. So I can actually add things in if I want. This is a necessary thing. So that's the first part. We're also going to write that the num apps is going to equal to 0. Because right now there's no apps, because I'm assuming it's a default phone. And since we have no phone type selected, or was sent, I should say, pick a random one. So again, we could do like you could put the smartphone name or the type of smartphone is not available or whatever, or blank, but I'm going to try a random one. So let's go int rand type equals int math.random times 3 plus 1. So it's just a random number to 1 and 3. So if the random number, if the random type, if that equals a 1, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the type of phone. Type of phone equals iPhone. Okay. Else if we get the rand type equal to 2, let's set it equal to Samsung. Or actually, you know what? Let's go instead of iPhone, let's just go Apple. Samsung. Type of phone is an Apple. Type of phone is a Samsung. And then anything else, the type of phone is going to equal Google. So it's like a Google phone. Okay, so that's good enough for what I'm looking for here. Okay. So now that's my default constructor. That one's good to go. It's done. Let's going to stretch this down so I got a bit more room to see what I'm doing here. Okay, let's make another another constructor. So public smartphone, and this time I'm going to send in a string. I'm going to call this string smrt phn type. So I'm basically sending in the type of phone it is. So all I'm going to do here is just everything's going to stay the same. So the app list is going to be a new array list. Same exact thing here. The num apps is going to equal 0. But this time the type of phone, that is going to be equal to smrt phn type. So I'm sending in the smartphone type. So that's I'm just going to set it to that. All right. So those are my two constructors. Now let me show you how to add in an app. So let's say in my main program I want to be able to add an app into my phone. Here's what I would do. So public void add app, and an app is going to have a string name. So I'm going to call it app name. And what I'm going to do is my app list exists already. So app list dot add. See how it says add string? That's what I'm going to be sending in. I'm going to add in the string of app name. So whatever app name came in, I'm going to add it into my array list. And I'm also going to make the num apps go up by 1. So I have a running total of how many apps are on my phone. Okay, so this is how you can add in like an app using a method into your array list. We can do the same thing with remove. So public void remove app. And this time, when you remove things out of an array list, you generally need to use a location number or an index value. So I'm going to write int location. And then what I'm going to do is go app list dot remove at location, like that. So whatever number I send in, like if I send in a 5, it's going to remove the app at number 5. And then I'm going to say num apps minus minus. Minus minus just makes the num apps drop down by 1. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a toString. So I'm going to write at override public string toString. Okay. And what I'm going to make the string look like is this. I'm going to say string output equals the following apps are installed on your, I'm going to attach in the type of smartphone. Phone. Period. And then I'm going to put in the /n. So it'll say like the following apps are installed on your Apple phone or Google phone or Samsung phone. Then I'm going to use a loop because we don't know how many apps are in it. So I'm going to go like this. So for int I equals 0, I less than num apps, because that's the running total of how many apps I have, I plus plus, and I'm going to write output plus equals app number. I'm going to attach in I, and I'm going to put equals, and then I'm going to attach in app list dot get bracket I, and then plus a /n. So what this will do inside my loop is it'll print out app number. The first one will be 0, so it's in spot 0, right? App number 0 equals, and it's going to say app list dot get I, and if I is 0, it will get the first element that's in the array list, which is a string, and it'll print it out right there. And it'll loop, and then the next one it'll be like app number 1 is going to attach an app list dot get 1. So it'll cycle through the entire array list. And finally, I've got to return the output. That's the way I have to finish the method, because I have to send back a string. Okay, so these are all of my methods. Yeah, so I do realize that the number of apps, some of you might be wondering, well, why did I even do that? Because I can always get the size of the app list anyways. and that will represent the same exact thing. I get that part of it. I'm just showing you that you can, make your own custom add and remove methods and do different things with it. So it's just a little demo. I know that this size method does exist in the app list, and it could definitely be improved, this program. But again, just a little demo here. Okay, so my smartphone object, I believe, is done. I may have to make some changes, but I think it's okay. Let's go into the main program and start working with it. So the first thing I'm going to do is create the smartphone object. So smartphone, I'm going to call it SP. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is ask for random phone. Do I want a random phone or not? That's what I'm doing here. So string choice equals J option pane dot show input dialog creating smartphone object colon /n plus, I'm just putting it in multiple lines here. So you can use multiple lines, you can use a plus sign to attach them. So I'm going to say 1, enter the type of smartphone you own /n plus 2, generate a random smartphone. And semicolon. Okay. Right click, fix your imports on the J option pane because that has to come in. And I'm actually just going to show you what this pop-up box looks like right now. So remember, /n is like an enter symbol, right? It's a new line. So it should look pretty good. Let's find out. Yep. So creating smartphone object, I can hit 1 for enter my own or generate a random one. So that's how the program works right now. Okay, so we've got that done. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to generate our phone. So use if statements to do this. The default one or the random one is the easiest, so I'm going to deal with that first. So if the choice dot equals quotes 2. So if they entered a 2, then it's super simple. We're going to use the default constructor. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to say SP equals new smartphone, bracket. That's it, done. That's all there is to that. So what it'll do is it's going to try and generate this new smartphone, and it has nothing in the brackets. So Java's going to go over here. It's going to look for a constructor that has nothing in the brackets, which is this one right here. And this is exactly what we're going to get. The empty array list, 0 apps, and it will generate a random type, either Apple, Samsung, or Google. All right. Now, if we do anything else, so if we go, let's do else if choice dot equals 1. So if I entered a 1, okay, I need a couple of things. I need to know for sure what type of smartphone I have. So I do need to ask that user that. So ask the user the phone type. Okay, so we can write string phone type equals J option pane dot show input dialog. What type of phone do you own? And then /n oops. For example, Apple, something like that. Okay, so we're going to get our phone type just like that. And then once we know that, we can go SP equals new smartphone, bracket phone type. So we can send that information into the constructor. So Java is going to look for the one where I'm sending in a string, which is this one right here. And it will create my app list, my number of apps, and set the app or the type of phone to whatever I sent in. So that's how you do that. Now, I'm also going to put in an else right here. So if I don't enter a 1 or a 2, what do I want to happen here? I might just write, there's an error, and I might just make a random one anyways. So let's do that. Print line invalid selection generating random smartphone. I mean, I could have done a lot of things. I could have just exited the program. I could have done, or given the user another chance, but just a quick little demo here. So if I don't enter a 1 or 2, it's just going to make a random one. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do here. So now I've got my smartphone made. Let's actually add apps in. So I'm going to create a menu first, because I want to be able to, I can only add in one at a time. So I need to be able to loop this somehow. So there's a couple ways of making a loop that kind of goes forever. This is my way of doing it. I like using a Boolean variable. A Boolean is a true or false. So I'm going to create this Boolean variable called done and set it to false. And then I'm going to make a string called my app, just because I'm going to get that with the keyboard. And the idea here is I'm going to say while not done. That's my loop right there. So as long as it's false, right, which it is right now, it'll go inside the loop and it'll keep looping forever. Once the done is set to true, then it will break this loop. So let's create the inside of the loop now. So my app equals JOption pane dot show input dialog. Please type the name of an app to add, and I'm just doing another line here, to add to your phone, /n. Type done when finished. Okay. Now, so there's the thing. So I have the little prompt come up. It's going to say, please type the name of an app to add. I'm going to type in Facebook, for example, and it should add it. But if I type done, it should break my loop. So let's look for the word done first. So if the my app dot equals, I'm going to use equals ignore case, just in case, they put lowercase versus uppercase. I'm going to put the word done here. So it doesn't matter if it's uppercase or lowercase. If they've typed the word done, then I'm going to set the done equal to true. This will break my loop. Breaks the loop. If it's not the word done, so anything else, we're going to go sp dot add app bracket my app. So send in that string that I have. That's it right there. That's going to loop forever. Keep allowing me to add in apps as long as I don't hit the word done. Now my loop is finished. Let's display the phone with the app list. So I'm going to use the option pane for this. So I'm going to use the show message dialog, not show input, so show message dialog, null, sp. That's it. SP is the name of my object, and it knows it has a toString value already, and it's just going to display it. So let's try it out and see how well it works. Okay, the first one, let's do a random one. Let's make a random smartphone. So we're going to generate a random smartphone. I'm going to add in Facebook, Instagram, and maybe YouTube. So I got 3 of them in there. I'm going to type done. And there they are. Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And it created me a Samsung phone. Let's try one more time. We'll make our own phone, and we'll add in a few and see what happens. Okay, so we're going to enter our own type this time. And the type I'm going to put in, just to be different, I'm going to type that I have an LG phone. And let's do a couple apps here. Snapchat, TikTok, and I don't know, what's another one here? Netflix. And we'll do a 4th one just because I can. Candy Crush. Okay, done. And those are my 4 apps that I just typed in. So it's kind of a neat little program, I think. You can store basically an unlimited amount of apps because it's an array list. It has no max size that I'm aware of. So it's pretty cool. I mean, I'm sure there's a max. I mean, there's only so much memory you have in your computer and stuff, but you could store quite a lot inside of this. Um, but yeah, so it's a really cool little demo of making an object. It's a smartphone object, and I show you how to create random ones and how to add apps in and how to display it. So anyways, I hope you learned a little bit about how to actually create these kind of objects and how you can incorporate array lists and things like that into your objects.